I'm Shabbat give a sincere greeting to the brothers and sisters scattered across the four corners, teaching this word with sincerity and charity. I'm Brother Phineas, Prince of Power Israelites, here with another short lesson. I just wanted to briefly discuss how we misuse the Jeremiah 14:2, and how a lot of these Christian apologetics and Christian apologists will try to use that against us. How other movements will try to use, if they can just find one little you know what I'm saying, misuse of scripture, they can find one thing to try to confound us on, they're gonna try to use that against us. And this is just, you know what I'm saying, something we need to do, man, to tighten up some of the nuts and bolts, tighten up some of the loose screws within our doctrine, within the Israelite doctrine. Now what I want to do is just show you a couple clips that I've run across, and that's what sparked me to do the video, because I see that these hungry jokers are waiting to try to trip us up with this thing. And you've seen it's going to be a whole panel of these Christian apologists waiting. That's what they teaching. Like, that's that Jeremiah 14:2. So if you get caught using it, they are going to use that against us and to try to make us look like we don't know what we're talking about. And if you see that they not even gonna really say the proper Hebrew words, and you can really confound them, but you can also get confounded if you don't really exegete the text, right? But look at these videos. Watch these two videos, these two clips.
The book wasn't given to you.
That's another famous one. That's it. Go to.
How about
Anybody
this?
else? Oh, go ahead.
So, for example, with the camps, Jeremiah 14:2, they see the word black in the King James and don't understand that the word kadaru in the Hebrew is a verb, not an adjective, and somehow will conclude that this is indicating that the King James translators somehow were saying that the not even realizing how the grammar in Hebrew works, because the subject is the gates, because the word kadaru is plural, gates is plural, since they don't understand how Hebrew grammar in many cases actually works. Not all of them, but specifically the camps. They miss that obvious point, and then they come to irrational conclusions, not even realizing that in Job 30:28, the same root word that's used in the relevant word in Jeremiah 14:2 is rendered mourning in their own King James translation.
MOURNING, just so everyone's following. It's but yeah, you're totally right. That's why I've seen some of the camps, I'll be specific, Sakari is backing away from that reading of Jeremiah 14:2. At least that's what they told me in person.
Because remember, they read Jeremiah 14:2 and think that when it says black, it means actually black, the color black. But the word black in the Hebrew is referring to death or something negative. People don't realize that. It's not. It has nothing to do with black.
Hold up.
Black
Say
skin.
that one more time. Say that again.
Jeremiah 14:2, or when Job 30:30. When it says black, they feel like it's referring to black as in skin color or black as a black man. No, it's even in Solomon 6:1 or Solomon 1:6.
Look
I am
not
black,
upon me because my skin is black.
Yeah, it's actually not even written right in the King James, I think. But what I'm going to say is this: if the black don't mean that, I think the Hebrew word is racha, and if it doesn't mean that, why would the One West family, who teaches that it means that, agree to a sit down and change all of those meanings?
Doctrine. But the use of that word black, see, it's one thing to go out there and we say, well, black is a crayon, black is a color, and then we go back to the Jeremiah 14:2 and say, see, we are black, Judah is black unto the ground. And so that's kind of, hypocritical in itself. But let's just go deeper into the text. Let's go deeper into the text and see different uses of the word black. First, I would like to start with the Job 30:30. Job 30:30. We'll see that we're just gonna look at the Job 30:30, Jeremiah 14:2, the Lamentations 5:1, the Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. we'll look at these and just examine them and see the three Hebrew words. Three Hebrew words come out of these texts. One of them is kamar, you got kadar, and then you got shakar. And those are the three Hebrew words that are used, and all of those pretty much have a consistent meaning to them. All of them verbs meaning to grow. Most of them dealing with mourning. We're gonna break each of these down, but let's first start with the Job 30:30. All right, Job 30:30, because a lot of times we'll read only half of this passage. Let's look at this real quick. So even if we don't really dig into the Hebrew, we can see within this text, if we read the the next verse right after the Job 30:30, says, my skin is black upon me and my bones are burnt with heat and my heart is turned to mourning. You see the mourning within the context of that text. And so we even without going into the Hebrew, we actually see that. So let's actually go into the Hebrew and see what that word black there in this verse actually means. And that word there is shakar. All right, so next I wanted to let's look into the songs of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5 and 6. Let's look at that. The Songs of Solomon is a poem between him and a woman, and it's like a beautiful poem about a courting of this particular bridesmaid, or this particular woman that was among the other women that was chosen. And this particular woman is telling him, don't look upon me, I am black but calmly. And then if you read the next verse, she tells you why she's black. She said, I am black because the sun has been upon me, because my sisters and brothers, my mother's children, made me work out there in the field. And so you see there's a bit of suffering going on with that, her being out there in the field and being darkened by the sun. But this is not Solomon. All right, this is not Solomon. This is also talking about this woman, because Solomon definitely wasn't out there. Kids didn't make him go out there and work out there in the field when he's the king. So that can't be talking about him. But that word there is kadar. Kadar. Let's look at that in the Hebrew. The kadar is the same Hebrew word in the Jeremiah 14:2. And you'll see that, these, brothers and sisters, these Christian apologists are trying to use that they waiting for you to say that Jeremiah 14:2. Ketubah. I just seen a brother say ketubah in one of these videos I'm about to roll out and show y'all. But they don't know the Hebrew word, so it's good that we go over these kamar, kadar, and shakar. And we go over these words, so you know what I'm saying, they can't get one on you when they come out here and say something crazy. They'll just say a little word, and you know, both of these instances they didn't say the proper word. From my take. But let's look at the Jeremiah 14:2. We have to understand that this is not talking about the people.
Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, the gates thereof languished. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. And their nobles have sent their little ones to the waters. They came to the pits and found no water. They returned with their vessels empty. They were ashamed and confounded and covered their heads.
And so really, I just want to stop and just look at that first part. Judah, because that's really all we deal with. Judah mourneth, the gates thereof are languished. They are black unto the ground. It said the gates thereof are languished. They are black unto the ground. They talking about they are black unto the ground is talking about the gates. When a city is being burned down, the first thing to go, the first defense is their gates. All right, and to get a precept for that, let's look at Nehemiah. We're going to get two precepts. We're going to look at Nehemiah 1:3 and Nehemiah 2:17. Let's look at these real quick.
Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 3. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 17. Then said I unto them, ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come, and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more reproach.
All right, so you see the gates were burning. That goes within the text. We have to understand that Judah mourned. Jeremiah, it's about mourning. We see that mourning, and us, you know what I'm saying, in deep sorrow again. And Jeremiah, you know, some people call Jeremiah the weeping prophet. In the lamentations that he had, you know what I'm saying, the crying out, the weeping, the sorrow, the mourning. You see this pretty much going within all these verses. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty much present in all the verses is a type of mourning going on. Whether the mourning actually burn their skin or not, you do have that in some of the verses, but in all the verses we see some bit of suffering, some bit of mourning that's going on. Let's look at this last verse, because really Lamentations chapter 5 verse 10, without us going into any other Hebrew, really gives us the definition of I am black. It really gives us the definition. So let's look at Lamentations chapter 5 verse 10.
Lamentations chapter 5 verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah.
And it says, our skin is black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Our skin is black because, and I've seen people try to explain this thing with showing how a famine or how you starving could make you darker. I've been around a lot of homeless people within my ministry. I've been around a lot of homeless people, and your skin does darken. Your skin does darken if you're not, you know what I'm saying, practicing proper hygiene. You know what I'm saying? You're not out here taking baths and dirt is building up on you. Your skin can grow blackened from that. Or if your feet are just walking out here on the pavement in the dirt, your feet will be turned black. But that's a far reach on that. But this is still dealing with mourning. And that Hebrew word there is kamar. Kamar. Let's look at that real quick.
H 3648 kamar. To intertwine or contract, i.e. by implication to shrivel, as with heat, figuratively used to be deeply afflicted with passion, love, or pity, be black, be kindled, yearn.
So if we look at the Lamentations, that is our definition. Even without going into any of the Hebrew, that's our definition. My skin is black because of the terrible famine. We know because of some sort of suffering. Our forefathers would use the phrase of becoming black or being dark. And that's the context of this. This is the proper exegesis of these texts. And if we keep trying to use it to be an identifier for a nationality, we gonna continue to get tripped up. And these Christian apologists, they are waiting for to catch you in a snare, to be a stumbling block for you. And listen, this is where the all Negro doctrine came in. This is where the all Latino doctrine came in, because we are not we not reading those texts, those particular texts properly. And I think once we nail that down, we can go on to some of the other things and start nailing the whole, nailing our doctrine down completely. Again, we ain't gonna agree on everything, we ain't gonna know everything, but you've seen in one of the videos, that Sakari actually, had done already, stopped using the Jeremiah 14:2. We used it maybe early when we first went out, but we haven't used it in years, because we seen it a while ago. But with that, I'm gonna say shalom. I hope it was edifying. Just go and do more research on it. You may not eat it on the first time. Just do more research, sit on it, follow these things up. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.